Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge Podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider for Clutch Points, joined by Raj Chapalu, Junior Lakers. No, I'm kidding. Senior South Bay Insider for Clutch Points, Raj Chapalu. Today on the show, Raj, we're going to be talking about the Lakers beating the Kings in Sacramento, something we don't get to say very often. We'll talk about Max Christie. We'll talk about Anthony Davis outplaying Domantas Sabonis. We'll talk about Austin Reaves playing really well, especially since Max Christie has entered the starting lineup. But I think we should maybe touch on, at least briefly, the at least funniest story in the NBA tonight. The Denver Nuggets lost to the Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, they ended up losing? I didn't even catch.
Anthony Simons made a layup driving right by Russell Westbrook to seal that thing. They were getting blown out at one point in that game too. They kind of fought back in the third, in I think it was the third quarter, and then made a game of it. And then Portland, and by the way, like Denver used to just beat the shit out of teams in the clutch when they had their like 5-man lineup, of Murray and KCP and MPJ and Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic. They used to just beat the crap out of everybody in the clutch. And those fourth quarters were often brutal for the other team. In this case, they fell short. So I just want to enjoy that one. It was kind of fun. I can't stand that team. So it was nice to like look over those losers.
It's nice to see Denver being mortal, right? Like, and it feels like they're still only mortal against
unless they play the Lakers.
unless they're playing the Lakers, but it's still nice to see that they're mortal. I think this was the first game Christian Braun actually came back. So Russell Westbrook had been starting. They were 5 for 1, and the start Russell Westbrook stuff has been starting to circle. And tonight, Christian Braun comes back. I don't know what he shot. Denver gives up 126 points. I was watching that game, Anthony, while we were at halftime. Denver does not try as hard versus other teams than us. They just don't. I'm watching DeAndre Ayton lock up Nikola Jokic for consecutive possessions. I'm like, you're Nikola Jokic. You could blow by DeAndre Ayton whenever you want. And Ayton had like 3 defensive stands against him. So I don't know what we did to you guys, Denver. We beat y'all once. You beat us twice now. I think it's even. I think we're good now.
I just enjoy them losing to bad teams. It's just, my mentions right now are filled with like Nuggets fans who are like, but. It's like, but my ass. Losers. You lost to the Portland Trailblazers. All right, let's talk about the Lakers here. Really fun win. Really fun game. Really fun win here. Again, in Sacramento, the Lakers didn't beat the Sacramento Kings last year at all. Hadn't beaten the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento in a couple of years. This was a good one. It was a solid win, almost wire to wire. Sacramento took the lead a couple of times there in the third quarter, whatever. But 113-100 is your final. And I still think, Raj, the biggest story of the last few games here has been what the Lakers look like with Max Christie in the starting lineup. Like, it changed everything. And I think his play is a part of it, but I think it brought so much more balance to the rotation. It slots everybody into roles that make the most sense for them. Austin looks incredible when he doesn't have to guard the other team's best perimeter player. But that to me, Raj, is I think the biggest story of the season so far.
Well, before we get to that, the whole day, Anthony, has been ratings and why are ratings down. This was an incredible game. Like, this was a playoff. It felt like playoff type atmosphere. I thought both teams played really well. You could tell both teams really wanted this one. There was intensity, I thought, from the get-go. Lakers went up double digits really early on in Sacramento, obviously punched back. I just loved how this game played out. And I still think there's no sport that, final 5 minutes, a close game, there's just nothing touches, basketball. And I just love the intensity, especially like a defensive minded one. And I think the Kings didn't only scored 30 once tonight, and they scored 30 like exactly in the third quarter. The Lakers defense stepped up. But yeah, Max, it's not just Max starting, right? I think in the comments I see Steven saying it's not just Max starting, it's him playing well. That's what it is. Is Max actually, becoming the player that we signed? Max becoming the player we signed. He is our most technically sound defender, Anthony. He's the best on ball denial. He just gives that unit an athletic jump. I think him and Austin, like we forget also Austin was out. Them two together, it's just such a jump from when you're starting Gabe or you're starting, even Dalton, who's improving. But no, Max's athleticism has completely changed the game. His ability to rebound. I don't know how many times he tapped the ball out tonight where like there was an offensive rebound chance. He gave them an extra opportunity. But the job he did on De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk following what he did on John Morant. Unbelievable.
Think of the names you just listed there.
Unbelievable.
Raj. Those are three of the toughest covers in the sport. Like
impossible covers.
I look back on like when I was way back in the day when I used to play, my least favorite type of player to guard was the athlete who could shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So like guarding Malik Monk just looks like it sucks, right? You have to pay attention to him 30 feet away from the basket, and he's also lightning quick, and he can dunk on your forehead. Right. The other guys that we mentioned there, De'Aaron Fox has improved as a shooter over his time in the NBA. So you have to like think about him as a shooter. And the one time Max didn't, right? Fox made a three, I think in the fourth quarter. John Morant, right? For some reason, shoots really well against the Lakers. So like those three guys there, like those are your assignments. Like Max, all right, you're gonna start. Cool, wow, awesome, thanks, JJ. Also, your assignments are John Morant, De'Aaron Fox, and Malik Monk. Awesome, great, yeah, okay. Let's see how this goes. But he's accepted the responsibility. He's relished in the opportunity, and he is playing really fucking well. Like he's I don't think he's going to like asking him to light the world on fire when he's doing that night in, night out defensively, I think is a lot to ask, especially initially. But it's been night and day from him start of the season to now. It's and also kudos to him for staying focused and bouncing back given the brutal way that he started the season. But also, I think the coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for understanding, like you have been saying all year, there is no good version of this Lakers without a good version of Max Christie. You are going to be really important here. Just get your shit together. We'll see you out there when we can see you out there. And he finally got his shit together. He's playing really well.
Yeah, and you could just tell when confidence is oozing out of a player. That's one of my favorite things to watch as well. In the first quarter, Anthony, he missed his first 3 threes, and obviously not all misses are equal, right? So like one of them I think almost went down and it popped out. The other 2 were online. He got another open one again and took it right away and hit an open 3 in the left or right corner. And it just showed that like he's super confident, and even when guys blow by him, he doesn't hang his head. He doesn't think about it. Doesn't affect the next possession. Again, the guys were talking about John, like, look what Ja did tonight, like against the Warriors. Memphis went and beat the brakes out of the Warriors. They beat them by 40, I believe, in Dennis Schroeder's debut. Welcome to Golden State, Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
But that's a really tough cover.
He's on a good team now, right, Raj?
right. Yeah. But no, like you could tell Max's confidence is increasing with every rep, and even when he gets to close games, and he's trusted. Like, hey, you have him. We're not sending extra help. You contain him in transition. You contain him on ball screens. And Max, the best, like my favorite Max trait is he doesn't just give up a switch. Watch him chase over screens, and he chases with a purpose, right? And he had a really nice defensive possession on De'Aaron Fox. And we're mentioning in the broadcast that he's the one player that pushed De'Aaron Fox right. Every single other person lets De'Aaron Fox gets to his left hand, and Max kind of ball denied and made Fox take a tough leaning shot going to his right. No, it's just awesome. This is what you want to see when you draft a player. This is the kind of development curve that you would hope that they eventually get to, and Max Christie is starting, which is what you hope for when they sign this summer. So hopefully he builds on that. But yeah, the Max Austin backcourt. There's a lot of stuff there. It's interesting to two guards that fight on defensive end that give you some offensive pop.
I think we'll see some regression eventually here from Max. Like the amount
Mhm.
of effort that it takes, like I don't know if that's sustainable, frankly, to keep that up over the course of the year. But like if they're able to have a starting backcourt between Austin and Max, making a combined 20 million bucks or so a year for the next 4 years, um, that's not terrible. That allows you to do some pretty cool stuff elsewhere on your roster. Yeah, I can't obviously I'm biased here because I've been singing Max's praises now for a couple of years. And I've really believed in the kid, basically since the Lakers drafted him. But I like the things that we're talking about, like him playing well, obviously allows for all of this. But I don't think I truly don't think it's a coincidence that Austin immediately started playing better. Gabe
Mm,
looks a lot better in a role that makes a lot more sense for him. The bench unit makes a lot more sense defensively now with there being more balance on that side of the ball. I think AD looks kind of like he has a little bit more bounce in his step because he's like, I don't have to make up for 3 shitty defenders or for 4 shitty defenders every single time I'm on the court. It's nice to have somebody out there who actually cares about defense. And I also think, by the way, it makes Austin a better defender too,
yeah,
because Austin defending a team's second best perimeter player, like he actually made some really big plays
huge.
as like a weak side defender tonight. Had a huge steal when Domas would have had a wide open layup if Austin doesn't step in to steal that pass. So, or a pass there. So it was just I just think I think like one of the smarter things said about this team all year is when you said there is no, like, the Lakers ceiling with Max not being good is just not
Doesn't exist.
is way too low. I think what we're watching over the last couple of games with Max there in that starting group is it hammers home that point that like every other part of this roster makes a
Yeah.
whole bunch of sense. He just needs to continue to keep up that level of play, so he can continue to start.
It's also what it's rare on this team because we did this in the summer. This exercise like lists the amount of two-way wings on the Lakers. And it's like
Yeah,
Max Christie, and then you
and
you like sub in Gabe Vincent a little bit there, and
yeah,
you try to plug in a bunch of players, but it's really Max Christie, right? And it's why I think
yeah,
Vando's been put on this pedestal, by the Lakers, even by like saying this is the guy we're waiting for because this is the side of the ball that he gives you help on. But Max being able to give you that two-way ability, even if it's just hitting open threes and making the right play on a closeout, like that helps so much. Being a guy that you can't just guard with your center, right? Teams can't just put their center on Max Christie. He can hit an
mhm.
open shot, and that threat there opens up a lot. And then you put the two-way side with the defense. It's huge value and then you get to the contract that he's on. But no, there was no good team without Max Christie being good. And I think you're seeing some of that. Second straight game, we held a team under 100 points after being
Well,
28. Well, oh, did they
they
eventually
they got
get
to
to
100.
him? Oh, they did get to. Okay, well, right. They had a really good defensive game. I would put this right on that bar of with Memphis, which I think
No,
is our two
holding
best.
holding the Sacramento Kings to only 100 points is a major accomplishment. Like, even though
Huge,
they've been up and down this season, it's still an explosive offensive team. The problem is they can't stop anybody and they're too small. The DeMar
right?
DeRozan acquisition just never made much sense to me, and it continues to not look very good.
It really didn't. The amount of Kings fans that victory lapped in my mentions on the DeRozan stuff early on, I was like, "You sure you want to do that?" 6 games in,
You're
and the
already too small, and you just got smaller.
yeah, I
Like,
didn't understand it at all.
yeah.
The
Let's talk about the other guy that we got to talk about here. And I listed him. I don't know where I listed him here. I'll take a look. We have him as okay, cool. Yeah, that's where he belongs. Anthony Davis outplayed Domantas Sabonis tonight.
yeah,
And again, not something that we've been able to say very much or enough, I would say, over the last few years. AD finishes tonight. He played 35 minutes, scored 21 points, grabbed. Why does it say 18 boards? He grabbed 20. ESPN's behind. No, who's
It
yeah.
says 18 on NBA.com too. So
No, it's all right. It updated 21 points, 20 boards, 4 assists, 3 steals, 6 block shots, was a plus 19 on the night. 7 of 20 from the field, 7 of 9 from the free throw line. I do think that like 9 free throws is going to be the number to look for here with Anthony Davis. You know, 9 free throws and up. I think the Lakers are going to be a different team with him playing that way, because there's a level of aggression that you need to play with to get to the free throw line that often. I'm not kidding. It's not like it's not a 40-20 game. It's not a 30-25 game. It's a 20-20 game, but it's one of my favorite Anthony Davis games of the season. You watch that game, and to those sickos out there who go back and rewatch games, watch Anthony Davis specifically and how physical he was on every single possession with Domantas Sabonis. And Sabonis almost fouled out in this one, but the number of times that Sabonis was like whining to the referee about Anthony Davis holding him on rebounding, or the way that AD was boxing him out. This was one of my favorite Anthony Davis games of the year, maybe of the last couple of years in the regular season, not counting playoff performances and stuff. Unbelievable game from AD.
He was awesome. My favorite thing is I don't think Sabonis ever believes he's ever committed a foul. Ever. I don't think I've ever seen that guy raise his hand and go, you know what? That was me. I don't think I've never seen it. I complained after every call. Even when he gets a clean block, I feel like sometimes he tells the ref.
Domantas Sabonis is the kind of guy who would like spill on a table, right? Like spill his drink on a table and then like blame a lump in the table. Like, who put that lump there? Whoa.
It was wind. Yeah, it was too much wind. No, AD was awesome. He had like 3 blocks right away, and I think the physicality point hits it on the head. Domantas is always usually one that's giving out the punishment, and I thought AD gave it to him right back. They tried to do a couple ISOs with him, and AD's like, not tonight. You're not getting any space on me. You're not gonna be able to move me. You're gonna have to hit a hook shot from farther out than you're comfortable with, right? And so Sabonis, sometimes when AD's maybe not feeling well or whatever, like he's not up for the matchup, Sabonis will push him all the way to the bottom of the rim on their previous matchups. But tonight it was none of that. Sabonis had to like flow into a dribble handoff. He fought him on the boards. You mentioned the 20 rebounds, 6 blocks. And again, this kind of leans into these starters making more sense, where AD is in more of a help position. We switched a little bit, Anthony, but we switched with Rui instead of, a super small guard. So Ruiz was able to at least have some of the physicality that, to match Sabonis and just not make it as big of a mismatch. There were still moments where Sabonis got open. And frankly, what Sabonis, I think, made 8 out of 13 tonight. A lot of those were over our small guards. He didn't get much of anything versus AD. I thought he, kept him off the line as well. Yeah, this was nice. We're 2-0 against Sabonis. Some of this maybe is the DeRozan effect. DeRozan versus LeBron is kind of outweighing the Sabonis versus AD. One-on-one matchup stuff here.
Like, I can't imagine kind of weird like fatherhood rivalry here.
I can't imagine being DeRozan like this. Like, you played this guy 8 years ago in the playoffs, and he's still doing the same thing to you, walking your team down.
The guy who sent like the fuckery has to end sometime is just DeRozan's burner. Like, he came home one day. He's like, well, at least he's like 30. The fuckery's gonna end pretty soon. 8 years later, 8 years, a few teams later, DeRozan's still getting his butt kicked by LeBron.
on the same exact stuff. Like, it's LeBron. Like, I can't imagine. He's like, clear out. I have DeRozan on me. DeRozan's like, are you serious? Post up right to the rim, layup like it's Toronto and Cleveland. Like, just insane.
Did you see LeBron knock him over at one point?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. The post up just knocked him to the ground, lays it in like it was nothing, went back the other way.
It's like, what year is it? Stop doing this to me.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
um, the other part of this stuff with AD, the 6 box, extremely loud, all of that good stuff. But I think the Lakers have gone back to featuring him in the offense more. A lot more player movement, a lot more ball movement, and I think he is, quite literally at the center of a lot of that stuff. Even if he isn't getting the assist, even if sometimes he isn't even getting the hockey assist. Like this version of the Lakers where Anthony Davis is the very clear kind of focal point or the fulcrum of the
Yeah,
offense is I think the best version of the Lakers.
yeah, for sure. And the Lakers are now, I think, 13-7 when they get LeBron, AD, and Austin to play. And I think, we were seeing a group that didn't have those guys, or at least one of those guys were out. And yeah, you see AD bringing the ball up more. We spam that kind of rip action where LeBron and Austin kind of screen for each other while AD's at the top of the key. We're starting to get back to that a little bit more, get him more on ball reps as well, going downhill. And I think you can do that when you have your offensive players out there that he can work with, right? It's a little different when it's, Gabe running around versus whether it's Austin kind of being a little bit more control. And, I think you've spoken about this, how Austin's really the only guard that the Lakers trust to have the ball at the end
Yeah.
of games in close matchups. So I think that's all helped AD as well. And teams have probably scouted and you've kind of got to mix stuff in. But AD, I think a part of this too, AD's jumper has just returned. Like the mid-range jumper is back, and it's no longer. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty confident that shot's going in now. The three, it depends which game it is, but the mid-range,
Yeah.
at least having an entrance back into his shot diet, I think is the start of all this confidence on the offensive end for him.
I also we got to talk about Austin
Oof,
because in this one, 35 minutes, 7 of 14 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3-point range, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Austin getting to the free throw line is huge
everything,
for
yeah.
what the Lakers, what the Lakers can do offensively. 25 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals. Like I think a lot of people are going to be kind of reintroduced to Austin Reaves with Max starting because again, I cannot stress enough how difficult the Lakers were making life on Austin Reaves by starting either D'Lo or Dalton next to him, where they're like, all right, we need you to go out there and guard the Malik Monks, the De'Aaron Foxes, the John Morants of the world. And then also initiate the offense. Also, you have to space the floor and somehow maintain a rhythm from deep as well. If you get to the free throw line too, that'd be cool as well. But like you're asking all of this
Yeah,
from an undrafted player in his fourth year,
fourth year.
and it's just that's just those are the stuff, the responsibilities the Lakers were hoping for Austin to carry were those of like a supermax player. I'm not exaggerating that at all. Like all of those responsibilities that the Lakers were asking of Austin on a night to night basis were insane. And he wasn't, I'm going to be honest, he couldn't uphold all of those responsibilities because he's not a supermax player. I think he's a really, really good player, but he's not like an uber, superstar in the league. And now though, he gets slotted into this more realistic role where it's like initiate the offense, knock down your threes when you're open, get to the free throw line now that you can actually have the legs to get around your defender, make good plays down the stretches of games, and then be just be solid defensively. Just don't
Yeah,
fuck things up defensively. And I think like what we're watching now from Austin is the ideal role for this guy. And I think I think a lot of people are going to remember like, oh, that's right. That's why the Lakers don't want to trade this guy.
right. Yeah, and his ability, Anthony, to get downhill is everything for the Lakers. Like you look at that starting lineup, it's him and LeBron really are the two. And LeBron picks and chooses kind of points where he's aggressive. But Austin's ability to just beat his man, and I think my favorite part of tonight, the Sacramento Kings have a player, Keon Ellis, super, talented point of attack guard defender, and was really giving D'Angelo Russell a lot of issues. And so, he did the same tactics on Austin Reaves, but Austin's a guy that will like use your aggressiveness against you. And he's like, all right, you want to overplay me? I'm going right by you. I'm getting to the line. You're gonna play off. I'm gonna hit my jump shot, and like that ability to be versatile, to be a 3-way scorer. Obviously, with the contracts, another conversation. But just his ability to get downhill and his passing to start this game was incredible. He was like, I think he had like 6 or 7 passes to corner threes. And, I think his teammates converted on 4 of them. But his playmaking's getting better. Again, his ability to get downhill. You mentioned his legs being more fresh because, he doesn't have to have the biggest defensive assignment. I think that's spot on as well. And yeah, he had 25 points tonight. I think it was his first 20-point game in 8 out of his like last 8 or 9.
He had 19, in their last game. So it was
In the
like
last
it's kind
game,
of
he was right there. Yeah,
I heard Billy making that
yeah.
point or whatever, and I was like, he just had 19. Like, that's just he was okay. Like he was fine the other night. But yeah, that's fair.
He was cooking tonight though, and the Kings had no answer for him, and he kind of outplayed De'Aaron Fox. I mean, both of them were going at it. De'Aaron finishes with 26, Austin finishes with 25, and again, a guy who's on every scouting report and still able to put up the numbers that he is, and still is able to get to the line and still get to his spots is impressive. And the Lakers missed him. As I mentioned before, 13-7 when I think I would call it our big 3. Anthony, Austin, LeBron, and AD would be the Lakers' big 3. 13-7 when those guys play. Can't do math of what they are when they don't, but that's a pretty good record.
Significantly worse.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Last guy that we gotta celebrate here is Gabe Vincent, who I think probably played his best game as a Laker. I think we can.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Gabe finishes tonight. He played 22 minutes, which was 1 fewer than D'Angelo Russell. I do kind of think that JJ is going to kind of pick and just see who has what going between those two guys for the rest of the year. 4 of 5 from the field, 4 of 5 also obviously from 3-point range. He finished with 12 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 4 fouls, which I actually kind of like. Like I like that he gets out there and he just kind of like throws his body around. Like the Lakers need a guard, willing and able to do that kind of stuff. The Lakers, I'm going to be honest, they don't win this game without Gabe Vincent tonight, and frankly, with Dalton struggling the way that he is, I think Dalton is like 3 for his last 32 from 3-point range. He took one tonight that was like wide open and he still looked like he's aiming it. So
yeah,
he kind of needs to get out of his own head. But again, like I think with Max now starting and Austin kind of like the clear starting point guard. And then you have like D'Angelo Russell running the second unit initially, and then Gabe gets to just kind of go in there and be wild card. I think we're starting to see, at least until he hopefully gets traded, like the ideal role for Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, right when he plays well, he's gonna go and
good job, Gabe.
Go and kill it on the next team. That would kind of be disappointing if like we got 10 games of Gabe just setting the world on fire, then we move him, and he's like incredible for whatever his next team is.
It depends on who he who they get for him.
I
won't be that sad if it's like, wow, they were able to turn him into who? Okay.
Right. Yeah. But no, Gabe is like, I think this was the thought when they signed him, right? And people always mention his 3-point percentage when, bringing up that he's not a shooter. And my counter when we signed him was, the point is that he's a streaky shooter, which means you get some of these 4-3 a game nights to live with the 0 for 5s, the 1 for 6s that eventually hit throughout a regular season. But his confidence is, at a place it's never been on the Lakers. He's taking as many open threes, even contested threes, which was something I would never even thought would happen on the Lakers at one point. He's taking contested threes. He's not dribbling at all, which is fine to me. Like I like him kind of in that 3-and-D Derek Fisher type
Yeah.
role where he's just taking the open three and he's defending hard. He had a nice he had a big momentum charge play. If people want to take charge out of the league, Anthony, I highly disagree. I think charges are extremely effective in turning a crowd or making a crowd, go ballistic. But he had a huge charge play that had a lot of momentum behind it. I think it was on Sabonis, and he slides through screens very well. I still don't like the Russell, Gabe, and Austin units. Those were minus 23 coming into this game.
Yeah.
They got blasted again tonight when
Yep.
that lineup checked in. But Gabe's been contributing, and with Cam Reddish's, I don't know, Cam has this weird thing where his defense just goes through a weird regression, even though it has nothing to do with his
It's
offense.
December, Raj. He's
I mean,
phenomenal in November. It is
Yeah, but
now
nothing-
December. You need to let it go. Cam is done
Like-
for the year.
it's,
He'll have like 3 good games for the rest of the season. It's just you just gotta let it go.
but some of the stuff, it's like you were so great at that exact same play 3 weeks ago, but today you decided to foul De'Aaron Fox on 2 of them.
What
Anyway,
month is it?
okay, but that has nothing to do. Like the calendar shifting does nothing in actual
I'm telling you,
basketball.
moon.
He just doesn't like the holiday spirit or something. It doesn't make any sense. But no, Gabe's playing really well, so hopefully this continues.
Yeah, I do think eventually, like, the Lakers. Here's what I'll say. If Gabe is able to become even the streaky shooter that the Lakers were hoping to acquire when they got him, it makes it a lot easier to trade D'Angelo Russell. It like, if they trade both of those guys, Jovan and I talked about it in the home and home shows that we did. If they trade both of those guys, you'd better go out and get a point guard, right? You desperately need at that point a Markel Fultz or a Dennis Smith Jr. or an Elfrid Payton, or if you ask a team to, or you convince a team to include a point guard in whatever trades that you send out. But tonight, D'Lo plays 23 minutes. 7 of 15 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3-point range, 16 points, 6 boards, or 6 boards, the 1 assist. He basically played shooting guard tonight, which was, which I found kind of interesting. They need him to be more of a facilitator. They need him to be kind of like they need him to get more guys involved, I think, in the second unit. But then there are occasional games where like nobody is getting it going, and you're just like, hey, D'Lo, just go keep us afloat. So
yeah,
like that is the one thing that like the Lakers would miss if the Lakers do trade D'Lo, is you aren't going to get somebody who can keep an entire unit afloat the way that D'Lo can. But I do think though that like if we get, because I don't think the Lakers are going to make a team shifting trade, at least for a couple to a few weeks. And if over that time, this is who Gabe is, that makes it really, really easy to just kind of move D'Lo.
Yeah, I could see where they can go with that thinking. My point with this is LeBron went 8 for 21, Anthony. And AD I think went 7 for 18. But even if you stick with the LeBron point, you beat a team on the road in Sacramento because you were able to kind of uphold the offense during that. And I've compared D'Lo's shots to like gambling, where you put, I think it's like putting all on red or all on black, or whatever the phrase is. It's kind of like it's a step back 3 that's contested. It's like, oh, I hope that goes in, and if it doesn't, there's no one there for an offensive rebound. There was no ball movement. It was just a straight shot. That's points or not. That's a win or not. But I still think that stuff is important. It's tough to gauge what you get back on the market with that. Shout out Jovan. I think he's the only person I've heard that's on my side with would not trade for Jonas Valanciunas, and so I've heard him make
Really,
that
I feel
opinion.
like I'm in the minority. He's like Tiff and I message back and forth. He doesn't want Jonas. And then Jovan says he doesn't want Jonas. You say you don't want Jonas. Like, I don't think the LFR guys are like on, really want Jonas all that much either. So I'm pretty sure I'm probably in the minority of like he probably costs the least amount of assets and uh would provide a physicality that the Lakers really, really miss. But like, because like we watched it tonight. So Christian Coloco played 4 minutes. Like JJ just clearly doesn't trust Christian Coloco. And like, what other bigs are out there that people are like Robert Williams? Robert Williams with this medical staff like might actually perish. Like he might have to
Well,
retire at the end of the year. And then you like okay, it's like Nick Richards from Charlotte. Okay, I kind of see it, but he's a different version of Christian Coloco or Jackson Hayes. Like I don't know. I guess it just depends on what what you get or what you have to send out for all of these bigs, but I don't see Jonas as like a mistake acquisition.
yeah. Well, I'm just gonna push a little bit on the reason I think Coloco, and maybe JJ does have some vendetta against Coloco that I don't 100% know about. But I think tonight was more. He played 4 minutes, but so did Alex Len. Sacramento went really small on their second unit. So I think they played like Keegan Murray and this guy Isaac Jones, I believe, played some backup center who's not I think 7 foot. So they were able to kind of play Rui and LeBron as their backup center at least tonight, and then Alex Glenn not really an offensive option, but yeah, again, I've been pushing for Coloco. I think there's just stuff there to squeeze out as a defensive prospect. I would get the Valanciunas stuff. It's just, Anthony, we've talked about this offline. I've said this to other people, but it's a guy that's been consistently proven to not be effective when games matter. Just that he does, his coaches just don't play him in games that
But he's not going to
matter.
play during those minutes where it matters.
But then what's the point of all of this then? Like, what's the point of getting him to raise your regular season floor? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess so, but
So
then
that you
you're also
don't have to like wait for Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood to get healthy.
yeah, I guess that's the choice there. I just again he adds to a slow team already, to a team that's already deficient athletically. He adds to that. If the cost is a second rounder and salary, that makes sense. But I don't know. I'm just not a fan of his game. But I would understand it if they go and get
I'm
him.
honestly not much of a fan either. Like I just don't. There aren't very many options out there, right? Like Nikola Vucevic, you have to send out $20 million in salary to go get Nikola Vucevic. Robert Williams, same problem, and that guy can't stay healthy. And the Lakers have one of the worst medical staffs in the sport. Like, who else? Like, I don't. Again, Nick Richards. Like, you're gonna ask him to like go from a situation where he's never had to care about winning to like, hey man, you need to come in and play when Anthony Davis isn't playing again, and the expectation is that you help us win. Like I just there just aren't very many, unless I'm forgetting somebody. It's all
Yeah,
altogether possible. There just aren't very many options on the center market right now. I don't love Jonas's contract. The 3-year contract does suck. Like that to me is the biggest like red flag in that situation.
right. Yeah. And look, the second rounders are what they are. And Gabe Vincent's salary, I would get it. I just again, I don't think he solves what we're weak at, and I would focus on go getting wings. Obviously, there have been particular wings that have been rumored. That's kind of where I would focus on. Because I 100% believe if this front office goes and trades for Jonas, they're just going to sit back and wait and say, all right, this is the move we did, and let's hope this works. And wait before doing anything else. So that's why I just don't think he solves as big of a hole as that we need to.
Yeah, I'm hoping like I'm literally writing my next piece is going to be about Cam Johnson. And the cap situation there is obviously tricky because there's such a big gap between what he counts against aprons versus what he's actually making this year and all that stuff. But the Lakers do actually have way more expiring money than people think.
Mhm.
And I think like I'm pretty sure they have enough expiring money to just trade for Cam Johnson. It's just a matter of if they want to include the picks necessary to go out and get Cam Johnson. And if Brooklyn's, top priority is taking back zero money that extends into next year and getting a good, combination of picks and stuff, the Lakers actually have one of the packages that makes the most sense for the Nets in that kind of an offer. And I know that there are concerns with Cam Johnson, staying healthy. He is kind of selective in his defense and stuff like that. He's also shooting 43% from 3-point range this year on 7 attempts a game. Tonight, Rui, in a game that, people in the comments are arguing whether or not he played well or not, 37 minutes for Rui. He went 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3-point range. All of his 4 3-pointers were just wide open. 5 boards, which is nothing to really write home about. Was, however, a plus 21, which is the game high
Yeah,
for anybody playing in this game. And I think that that what I take from that plus 21 is just imagine how much a better wing would impact that. If you take Rui and his plus 21, and instead of missing 3 of 4 wide open 3-pointers, you actually knock down 40% of more wide open 3-pointers that Cam Johnson is taking every game. Like, that's how you elevate the floor and ceiling of this roster.
yeah, yeah. I think the problem with Rui, he's more of a 4 and just
Yeah.
not a lot more minutes to go around when you're, behind. It's a Kuzma issue, right? Kuzma believed he was a 4, and he's like, well, I play behind LeBron and AD, so I'm just gonna get the rotation minutes
Yeah.
that I need. I thought Rui at least did a nice job, being as a low man, giving help and giving physical pressure on Sabonis. That was stuff that was kind of helping the Lakers win. And poor Rui was trying to chase Kevin Huerter around. It was just an evil assignment that he got because he just can't move his legs in that way. Cam Johnson is interesting. I do think he's an awesome shooter. Again, I think he's a little overrated in his two-way aspect. We'll see if the Lakers cough up the amount of first-round picks that it's necessary to kind of go get a guy like that. And look, I think Anthony, you would agree, Cam's price is probably the highest it'll ever be right now, right? It's like, I'm guessing like in middle of December when he's also on an absolute heater. Like, that's not the point where you probably get the best deal with Brooklyn when he's, playing amazing. And
I think
also,
Rob saw his his line today. He's like, damn it. Come on, man.
right. Yeah.
Like,
It's like, get some misses
did you
in there.
miss 3 threes? Did you just go cold for like a week?
Right. So yeah, this is not the place you'll get the best deal for him. And we'll see what Brooklyn does. They just obviously traded Dennis Schroeder, so they're obviously active in deals. But Cam's gonna come with a high cost. I'm just interested to see if the Lakers do anything. And Cam's the type of player, he's not polarizing. He's a guy that fits on a lot of contenders. Like, any team can look at Cam Johnson and go, man, that guy would fit in my starting lineup, even if they have a wing, even if they have a great 3 already or a 4 already. So we'll see if the Nets are able to kind of create a bidding war for him. But yeah, for sure that he's a better player than Rui, and he would definitely help. I have doubts how much the front office would aggressively pursue him.
That says more about the front office than Cam Johnson.
Sure.
Sure. I'm of the opinion that and I have said this all along. I think this team and that duo of LeBron and AD is always going to be worth investing in. And I would much rather err on the side of over investing in the Anthony Davis and LeBron James era than hitting the eject button a little too early,
Yeah.
And like, if that means, a first and a couple of seconds and maybe a pick swap for Cam Johnson, then like, I'm fine with it.
It's funny because Golden State obviously just went through this, right? And they committed to their young guys.
Oh, so it did. Dave McMenamin, the NBA took away 2 of Anthony Davis's offensive rebounds after the game, so AD finished with 21 and 18. So that's why
Okay,
we
yeah,
saw that.
that's why the NBA box score didn't update, even though they are kind of
Fucking
late.
haters. What the hell?
No, but Golden State went through this same kind of situation, right? And like their big move this year was Dennis Schroeder, and we'll see how that works out. And I think I'm still a
I
fan
don't
of
love
Dennis.
it. Yeah, I don't.
I get it from a defensive perspective. Give Steph, an all-ball guard that kind of recreates a little bit what DeAnthony Melton gave them. Obviously, Dennis is not the shooter that Melton is. But now you look at it, like Pods has regressed like in a strong way this year. Like, and so it's interesting. And Jonathan Kuminga is not getting a max. So probably should have signed the deal that was offered this summer.
Probably.
But yeah, it's just interesting to look at both of those franchises, and I'm sure Warriors fans are like, yeah, they heavily under invested in Steph and Draymond, and this is kind of what that looks like. So we'll see if the Lakers learn from that.
All right, we have one starred comment here, which means we get to play this bad boy wherever I find it. There. All right, Justin Tyndall writes, forget Braun, forget AD, forget Austin, but you can't waste a 4-3 Gabe game on 80% shooting. That's the kind of game, man. Like if I were a Kings fan, I'd be pretty pissed. Like, damn it, we lost the Gabe game. He's had one game like that in the last year and a half. If we happen to come against us, like that's the kind of thing that like that's the season that the Kings are having, where they're just having a brutal season. It's been tough luck for them, and they're like, oh yeah, cool. Of course we got the Gabe game. Of course he like that's the giant offensive explosion comes against us this year.
Anthony, Gabe Vincent outscored DeMar DeRozan tonight. DeMar DeRozan had 10 points.
What's that?
I said Gabe Vincent outscored DeMar DeRozan tonight.
Look, man, that was my picks for the game was like I thought there would be more scoring in this one in general.
Sure.
And I had LeBron making more than 1.5 threes, and he lined up one, and it like looked good. And I was like, hell yeah! Oh shit! And then I was like, well, I knew De'Aaron would cross the threshold. The question was whether or not there would be enough points to go around for DeRozan to cross the threshold, and then he didn't. I was like, man. Shit, I should have just, because the ones that I knew for sure that I was going to hit, maybe I'll probably be a little bit more conservative in my picks moving forward. But like I knew AD was going to get the double-double. That was an easy one. I knew that I knew that Malik Monk was going to go off because, the extra guard is the one that's going to give the Lakers problems. In terms of like defending them. The one that Max isn't guarding in some stretches is going to be the one that goes off. So I had a good feeling about Malik Monk. Also had a good feeling about De'Aaron Fox because he's just a brutal matchup for the Lakers. If I would have just, and then I still feel like I should have hit the LeBron more or less than 1.5 threes. I thought for sure I had that one and it didn't work out. By the way, if you guys want to join in that fun, you can go to underdog.com/ lounge, I believe is the URL to get a 50% deposit match. And I'm from now on, I'll be doing picks for each Lakers game heading in, and I'll be doing that exclusively on Underdog. All right, that I believe is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. Fun game, man. I enjoy these kinds of recaps, these kinds of conversations are the fun ones where we get to laugh at the Denver Nuggets. We get to laugh at the Lakers playing really well. We get to marvel at something as minute as just inserting Max Christie into the starting lineup and the impact that would have across the rest of the rotation. We get to like pat ourselves on the back for being right about Max Christie being the guy who needs to start as well. So fun episode here. That is going to do it for this episode and this week's episodes here on the lounge. I got to record a lowdown that'll be up on the RSS feed as well. And then on the other side of the weekend, I will be doing a mailbag actually on Sunday this week because the Lakers play Saturday instead of Sunday. Or they don't play back to back, do they? No.
No,
Yeah, it's just
I
Saturday
think
this
Saturday
week.
and then the Christmas game. I have that right? Oh no,
No,
they
they don't
played
have that long
Detroit.
of a break.
They played Detroit within that, right?
Yeah, so Lakers, and then I'm going to go to schedule. So the Lakers play Saturday again in Sacramento, and then Monday at home against Detroit, and then Christmas is the Wednesday game, and that is in Golden State. So
Mm.
yeah, that means that we will be doing a mailbag on Sunday, or I will be doing a mailbag on Sunday. So get your questions in the form of a 5-star review, and I'll get to those when I get to them. So until then, and until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Sapalu. This has been the Lakers Lounge. Have a great rest of your weekend. Make somebody else's, and I will talk to you on Sunday. Have a good one, everybody.